Welcome back. So in this section, let's try to automate web UI controls like drop downs, checkboxes, radio buttons, text buttons, and alert boxes. Okay. So step by step, let's start with our first static drop down, and we will see all these methods in this section, right? So let's take one real-time example to demonstrate all these. Okay, so there are a lot of websites available there which have this static drop downs, dynamic drop downs, checkboxes. So with the knowledge what we have learnt in the previous section regarding that identifying an objects using locators, we will use all those to handle these. Okay, so let me go to spicejet.com. I got this site which actually have all the web UI controls like drop downs, radio buttons, calendar, and checkboxes. So let's try to learn all the step-by-step web UI controls and how to automate those. Okay, so first, what is static drop down? So static drop down in the sense when you see something like this, when you open a drop down, you will see all the options preloaded inside it. Okay, so how you know whether the drop down is static or not? So static in the sense earlier when the developers are using to writing the code to develop this drop downs in traditional manner, this was the traditional drop down manner, and obviously when you spy on it, it will have select tag. You see here, whenever you see select tag on spying onto the drop down, that means that comes into a static drop down category. So how to automate these drop downs, right? So when you spy, you see a select tag. So that's the reason what Selenium guys has done. They created one class called select class in which it have a lot of methods to automate this drop down. Okay, let's see what is that select class and what all the methods present in that class to automate these drop downs. Let me go back to my Eclipse and create one new class for drop downs. So drop down. Okay, so when you click on finish, so automatically that specific class is created for you. Right, so let's do that in Chrome browser. Webdriver driver equals to new Chrome driver. Okay, so and as I told you in the earlier classes, if it is Chrome driver, you need to set system.setProperty, right? I have that in my previous lecture. I'll copy it here. Okay, I'll move my mouse and import this openqa.selenium package as well as this Chrome driver. So if I want to hit that specific URL, the command is get driver.get, and you need to pass this into that. Okay, yeah, right. So once it hit that URL, now my requirement is to select two adults from this radio button. Okay, so sorry, from this drop down I need to select one of the option. Let's select two adults. So how to automate that so that it automatically selects this option? Let's see that. So for that there is a class given by Selenium guys called select class. Okay, I'm creating class and object for that select class, that means S, right? In this select class argument, you need to pass the web element of that drop down. In our case, this is our drop down, right? So we need to pass this web element into the argument of this select class so that S object is aware where exactly the drop down is located, and it passes all the methods present in the select class to apply on that drop down. That's the concept. Let's go back and spy on it. Yeah, you see here, and this blue highlighted text is the locator for this drop down. Now let's try to write a CSS selector or XPath or ID to get that, right? So I just FirePath initially used for practice purpose, but once you got habituated, you need to start writing this locator without depending on FirePath, because sometimes FirePath will lead you in wrong way. That I'll tell you in my next lecture how FirePath can misguide you. Okay, so you should not depend always. So now I'll remove that. I'll write my own XPath or CSS selector here. Let's go with ID, because ID stays a unique thing here. Let me capture this and say driver dot. Basically you need to pass the web element inside that box by dot ID. Perfect. So hit and enter, and right now this select class have the capability of this web element, like it's know where exactly it is located, and it now loads all the select class methods and apply on this web element. Right, you have an error here because there is one package which you need to import. Move your mouse onto that specific element and you will see something called support.ui. Click on that, so that package will get imported. Right, now I want to select two adults. S dot, these are the methods available for you when you say S dot. Let's say select by value. Let's see this method. When you click on that select by value, that means you can select any option using the value. So how to get the value of these two adults? Okay, so when you hit here, sorry, let me close and open it again. Yeah, open this entire node and you see for two adults the value is 2, right? So you can grab and select these two adults by passing this value, that is 2. Go back and say select by value 2. That's it. And now when you run this code, it actually goes inside and checks where exactly the value is 2 located, and it identifies this two adults as an option and clicks that. Right? Let me run and show you. Run as Java application. It invokes Chrome browser. You see that? Now right now it is one adult and it got selected as two adults. Simple. So using this select class, you can manipulate the drop downs in websites. Okay, now let's see one more method in that. S dot, let's go and select by index this time, right? Index in the sense at the 0th index adult 1 will be placed, at the first index this will be placed, right? Let's randomly give the index number 6. Okay, so for this you need not give that in quotes, you can just pass the index, that's it. Okay, now when I say click on the index 6th, so that your control comes here 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, it clicks on the 6th index, it just blindly goes based upon the sequence. So what I'm trying to tell here is you can select an option from the drop down using the value which is given here, or you can select by index as well. And the next, you can also select by visible text. So here visible text in the sense these are the visible text, right? For 5 adults this is the visible text, this is what I am seeing. So even you can select an option based upon that visible text. You need to simply pass that visible text into the argument. Okay, that's it, and it go and selects that visible text which having 5 adults. So obviously 5 adults will hit that and it will get selected. So this is how you can select an option from drop down using the select class in Selenium WebDriver. But remember, you can apply all these operations on a drop down only when you have that drop down web element as select tag. That web element should have select tag. So maximum 99% the static drop downs will have tag name as select only. Okay, if you have that select tag, then you can use the select class. For example, this is kind of dynamic drop down. Okay, when you click here, you see that it's loading differently. It's not like static of a traditional approach which we see in recent days. In website development, changes are coming and they're trying to make our work more and more easy with easy UI. Now this drop down, see how it expands, and when you spy on it, this is no more select class. Okay, this is called something input ID, right? When you spy on it, it give you as input ID, and there are no options inside. So if you want to make this code work, just make sure you have select as a tag and all the options have option tag. So whenever you see like this, 99% you will have in this fashion only, right? So then this kind of select class works. But if drop down is something like this and input ID, and if you want to click on any option, you see that it's have anchor A, something different li. So in that case, this select class will not work. So that's why I have clearly differentiated between the traditional drop downs, which we generally see as select class, and the dynamic drop downs, which we are recently seeing in the website development sites. Okay, so this is how you can handle this drop down, and still there are a lot of methods. It's up to you to explore. If you want to deselect any drop down item, so currently in this website it does not support any deselecting. Like if you, in some sites you are allowed to select multiple options, right? And if you want to deselect those again, then you can use this option, deselect again by index, by value. Okay, so you can play around if you have any drop down. Fine. So that's the pretty much about this drop downs. So let me quickly run this test and show you how it selects quickly 3 different items, so that we can wrap up the static and go to that dynamic drop down stuff. Okay. So it invokes the browser, and you see that here, concentrate here, 1, 2, 7, 5. See how does it got changed, and finally it stopped here because we are asking to select by visible text. So you have seen 4 different drop downs, 1 which comes by default, 2 and 7 because we said 6th index, that is 7th, and 5. So in that way you can control. Right, so let's meet in the next section and see how we can handle these drop downs. Okay, thank you.